Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Snapshots and Stories. I'm your host, Paul Owen. So today we have a very special guest on that I'm really excited to talk about, to talk with about what she does for photography. And it's something, to be honest, I've never really shot a lot of, and I'm really interested in doing it. I didn't have all that much interest in doing it until I heard our guest speak at a seminar, and she spoke of her trip away and then gave a presentation on this type of photography. So it prompted me to think, I think this person would be an absolutely wonderful guest for our show. So, with no further ado, I want to introduce to you Ceci Snow, and Ceci is an equestrian photographer, and also so you can actually say either equestrian or equine. Sorry, equine photography, which basically is the photography of horses and in many different facets. Now, myself personally, when I thought about going out taking photos of horses, like most people, and I have shot some, so I would go out and I would find, a nice place or maybe somebody riding a horse or something, make sure I got my camera exposed just right, got everybody in the picture and snapped a shot. And I thought, that's just fantastic, but there is so much more to consider when you're photographing like Cece does. So Cece's been around the photography world for over 30 years, and she's traveled virtually all over the world doing this type of photography. And so she knows a thing or two about it, and that's why I'm so excited to have her on today's show. So, Cece, tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit, and how you got into this wonderful photography.
Well, it's a combination of things. I have a personal interest in horses. I've ridden and had owned my own horses most of my adult life and got certified as a coach so I could teach riding.
Mhm,
So the connection with the animal already existed.
mhm,
And when I got into photography, I was looking for ways to really emphasize all the beautiful things about the horse,
mhm.
not just pretty horse in the field like you were saying, but what makes one picture more special than another. And I love to be able to tell stories about horses with my
Mhm.
pictures.
Okay, well, and some of the photos I've seen certainly do tell stories, and there are some amazing stories that you've told, about what goes on behind the scenes, literally. And maybe we'll talk a little bit about that. So you've traveled all over the world. You've been to Brazil. I know you did some stuff there. You also have been all over Canada doing this. And does it change from places in the world? Is it all sort of the same kind of thing, or what do you find in that?
I've the basic techniques and the storytelling is much the same regardless of your location.
Mhm.
But of course, where you are, the temperature, the lighting, indoors or outdoors, if it's a competition, is it in a nice, bright, sunny outdoor ring or is it in a dusty, dark indoor ring? Those things make a huge difference, more so than the geographical location.
Okay. Okay. So as far as some of the things that you've shot, maybe what we'll do is maybe get you to show some photos of some
Mhm.
of the things that you've done, some of the photos that you've taken, and maybe just we by showing a photo, we can kind of go over it and start looking at what you look at as an equestrian photographer.
I'd be happy to do that as long as the technology cooperates here. As we had that little discussion before you started recording,
Yes, absolutely.
saying,
No,
oh,
you
yes,
take
we
your
can
time.
do
We'll
this.
get there. We will
And
get there.
we will get there. It has happened before.
All right.
Okay. Um, I will tell you the Brazil story first.
Okay, perfect.
And in this picture, which is it's from over 10 years ago now since I was there, but it was an amazing experience. I was out in a field just before dawn, and at this particular ranch in Takari, uh, the state of Bahia in the northeast corner of Brazil. Excuse me. there was a herd of mares out in the field, and one of them began to give birth. So of course I'm just fascinated with this, and I'm taking pictures of the foal being born, and there were mares all around that mare and foal guarding her while she was giving birth. Afterwards, as you can see in this picture, she got her foal standing up and she nudged him to the udder so he could have his first drink. And it was the most beautiful, tender moment that I can imagine.
Wow.
Obviously, I was totally fixated on the mare and her foal. What I didn't notice was this. Now, let me see if I can get this right again. Curled up behind me
Wow.
was this thing, the snake. It's a coral snake, and they're very poisonous and they're quite aggressive. I didn't even notice it. And one of the vaqueros, the cowboys, came into the field to check on the mare and her foal. And he saw me sitting on the ground, and he obviously saw this thing behind me, which I totally ignored. And he was gesturing to me to come quickly, get away, come quickly. And when I turned around and saw why, I froze for a minute. I didn't know what to do. And then I got up and started backing away. And as I was backing away, I was snapping pictures of this snake because nobody else would have believed me if I hadn't had some proof.
A true
So,
photographer, eh? And even in
oh,
the face of danger, you still got to get the shot.
oh, you got to get that shot. You absolutely do. And the picture of the little foal nursing with his mom, to me, that's a whole story.
Yeah.
They're, they're, it's the beginning of their life together.
Yep.
Um, and again, I mean, this particular pair, I stayed with them for probably a couple of hours, just
Hmm.
going around, taking their picture and looking for that story and that tenderness between the mother and the baby, which
Hmm.
crosses all species definitions. I mean, human mothers, dog mothers, horse mothers, we're all the same. We love our
Yeah.
kids. And it humanizes in a sense the animal, but it also is demonstrative of what they're really like.
Yeah.
And this pair were just absolutely amazing. Um, I was at a different ranch a while further on, more Brazil stories, and I was out down on a beach this time. And this particular breeder, oh, I forgot to mention in the previous one, that was what's called a a Mangalarga Marchador, which is the national breed of Brazil. Now,
Okay.
these horses, this is two young colts, stallions. And at this point in their lives, they're probably about a little over a year old. So
Hmm.
what you're seeing here is not a true stallion fight. They're practicing.
Okay.
But in a little, probably mere months as they mature into stallions, really interested in being studs, that fight would have been a lot more brutal and a lot more
Okay.
um, frightening because they will fight for the herd.
Hmm.
And whichever one loses will be either demoted to the bottom of the herd or actually run out of the herd.
Oh my goodness.
It's they, the fittest survive, as they say. But
So
that
the
keeps,
so this image
sorry.
that you just showed, that was that something that was out in the wild, or was this something in a ranch situation?
No, this was in a ranch, and these are actually Appaloosas, which are a North American breed
Hmm.
from the Western United States. But this particular ranch had imported breeding stock and was building up a herd because they also make very good ranch workhorses.
Hmm.
And one of the things I didn't say about the Mangalarga Marchador is that they are what's called a gaited horse. So what that means is all horses walk, all horses trot, all horses can canter or gallop. But the gaited horses, and there are a few different breeds, have an extra gait, which is between the trot and the canter or gallop, that's extremely smooth. And so they breed for that trait because when the vaqueros or cowboys are working on the ranches, they're out there for all day.
Yeah.
hours and hours and hours in the saddle. And having a horse that's bred to travel smoothly and not jolt the rider all over the place ends up being far more comfortable, of course,
Mhm.
and definitely one of those things that people want to have on a ranch. Let me see. This is Brazil actually has two national breeds, and this fellow is what's called a Campolino. Um, he was a young stud colt, and the young lady that you see there in the picture, she is a veterinarian.
Mhm.
She's a very accomplished equestrian rider herself, and as you can see, a terrific model. Now,
Yeah.
this horse, excuse me, this horse fell in love with her and he was just like a dog. He followed her everywhere we went. He was like two steps behind her. And later on that day, I had another model there, a young man, and I was having them do a sort of a romantic scene where this lady and this horse and the young man and his horse were going to walk away from me, turn around, walk back toward me, and I would be, snapping photos the whole time.
Mhm.
And this horse did everything he could to push that young man away from her. He nuzzled, he hit him with his nose. He tried to bite him. He just anything like get that young fellow away from this girl. She's mine.
So
Extremely possessive.
so in the process of that then, when you're actually trying to shoot these kind of things, these are some of the things that you would run into, similar to, I guess, shooting a group of people and somebody not, not cooperating.
That happens all the time.
That's
And
interesting.
whether you're shooting, people or horses, you really do need to know how they work, right? What
Yeah.
motivates them. And for example, if you look at this particular picture and you look at the horse's ears, they're up.
Hmm.
He's paying attention. His eye, if you can see it, I don't know if it shows that
Yeah, I
well,
can
but
see it. Yeah. Yeah.
it's very soft. So that tells me he's relaxed.
Hmm.
He's not tense. He's not about to, bite the girl or run away or do anything horrid like that.
Yeah.
But for me, it comes from years of being around horses and understanding their behavior and what different things mean. And that's, if you're going to shoot them, that's important to know.
Especially like the way you framed this one, um, the way that she's framed within the face and the chest of the horse.
Hmm.
Uh, that was very done. They're very well. Awesome photograph.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
Now the tail is down. Is that another thing that you look for?
Um, yeah, because he's just standing. If he were going to start moving, he would lift his tail a little bit. But
Okay.
if the tail was truly like crammed into his behind, this one's just hanging there. But
Right.
if he kind of tucked it in between his legs in the back, that would
Hmm.
be an indication of stress,
Okay.
that
Okay.
he's uncomfortable for some reason or other. This guy, he was just so chill, which is unusual, I should say, for a stud horse.
So now is this particular horse and this model slash rider, are
Mhm.
they known to each other?
Nope, they met that
Wow.
day.
Wow.
And it was just, you've heard the expression love at first sight.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yes.
I actually
Wonderful.
have this one printed quite large and hanging in my living room
I
because I
betcha.
just fell in love with this whole scene and the lake and, the little
Oh yeah.
cactus there on the right, and
The colors and everything and the way that she's lit. Now this was all natural lighting?
all natural lighting. Yeah. Because we
Beautiful.
were moving around in fields and climbing up hills, and we really had not, everybody, I had to drag my own stuff. So
Mhm.
there was no way I could carry, the camera gear, the lenses, the batteries, et cetera, and a tripod and a light stand and a flash.
Right.
So we had to keep it basically dependent on natural light.
Wow. Did you ever do a good
Oh,
job on
thank,
that one?
well, I appreciate that. Thank you, Paul. I am, as I say, every once in a while you'll get one that is just, that's the one that you really appreciate
Yeah.
as being special, right?
Yeah.
Um, this is another one. This is also, I'm going to get away from Brazil in just a minute, but this is another Brazil photo. And again, it's back at the Appaloosa Ranch. And these were running free on the beach.
Oh, wow.
And it was just what caught me with them is if you look at the two front horses
Yes.
and check their left front legs.
Oh, they're identical in
Yeah.
the
And
symmetry.
yeah. And they also, their right legs are also bent in the same direction.
Yes.
And it's just, that's unusual. You can sort of see that all four legs of those two lead horses are in sync.
Yeah.
And that's what really grabbed me was they were going by.
Hmm.
Now, again, to get that, you shoot, you've got to shoot in your rapid motion, you know,
Okay.
because you'd never be able to time a single shot and
Well,
get
I
that.
was going to ask you, when you shoot, like the scene that you shot before, it was static, so it was easy to, just kind of get things. The things just worked well because, of the comfort that they both had. But in a
Right,
situation like this, you have no control whatsoever. So it's
right.
kind of like when you're shooting wildlife to any degree, is you have to burst and, like we call it spray and pray, and we take a whole bunch of photos, and hopefully you're going to get one that just stands out, right?
That's exactly right. When they're moving, whether it's on a scene like this on a beach or in a horse show situation, for example, where the horses are moving, you cannot do a single shot because you'll never get it. I mean,
Right.
nobody's reflexes and no camera will react quick enough. So absolutely you shoot in burst and
Okay.
then, go from there. It works for Simon D'Entremont in his wildlife photography, so
Yes.
I guess it's okay to do that. Yeah, for sure. But when you're shooting these things, there's so much to think about. Like you said earlier on about um, looking at, yes, you can do the, uh, what was I going to say? Um,
Oh, the pretty
Static
pictures.
shot, and it's pretty. But if you're going to do any kind of motion,
Hmm.
you really need to be aware of what makes a good motion shot too, whether
Okay.
the horse is on its own or it's like this one. Sorry about the
That's okay.
uh, signature in the middle of it, but if you look at this horse, this young girl, this is shot actually in Norton, New Brunswick, at the Peekaboo Corner event. They hold a competition on this farm annually. And this young girl, she's riding right across the top of the hill. And I loved it because the whole Kennebecasis Valley is kind of in the background there.
Yeah.
But if you look at the horse itself, he's his ears are forward. He's looking like, where am I going? Where's the next? He had just come off one jump and is going to another one. So you want to see the horse looking in the direction that it's traveling with its ears pointed forward because that's showing the horse is interested and he's anxious to get there, or she, I'm not sure.
Hmm.
Um, but they're really focused on what they're doing. And the young lady riding is doing the same thing. She's totally focused on what's coming up next. And also, in addition to those two little things, the horse is in mid stride. In the gallop, there are four stages. There's one foot kicks off, then the two diagonal opposite feet go down, then the fourth foot goes down, and then there's a moment of suspension when all 4 feet are off the ground. And
Okay.
she's just shy of that moment of suspension. But
Yeah. The
what that
back.
shows is the power in the back end of the horse because that's
I
his
was just going to
engine.
say that the back legs are at this stage of is this considered a gallop or a trot, or what would this be?
And this is a canter,
A canter.
or
Okay.
a gallop. You can say gallop, either works. At the speed they were going, actually, it's probably more of it. The difference between a canter and a gallop is speed. That's
Okay.
that's all. But yeah, you can see that the power is in the back end of the horse,
Absolutely.
and he's really getting ready to push forward onto the next stage of that stride. And those are things that yeah, I did shoot that obviously in a burst as well. But when I go through the pictures, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking to see which shot is showing the horse, the power and the
Yeah.
strength, and
Uh,
because
the
they
the time
certainly.
the time
Sorry.
of day that one was shot. That looks like it was
High
probably
noon.
noon? High
Yeah,
noon?
it
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
it
is that
was.
is that something that you look for in this kind of photography or no?
Not really. No, it's actually
Okay.
sometimes it's a bit of a disadvantage
Mhm.
because as you can see, the light is coming down on top of the horse.
Yes.
And, it's really hard to, there's not a lot of light on the rider's face. I did add a little bit in editing,
Mhm.
but it would have been 100% different if the horse had been going in the opposite direction toward the sun. It still would have been side to me, but there would have been more light on the horse's head and the
Oh,
rider.
okay. Okay.
But, when you're doing horse shows, the photographer doesn't get to choose this stuff.
Well,
They
and
look at
like
it.
you and you were saying about static shooting and motion shooting, and when it's motion because they're taking and moving in such sporadic, not sporadic to them, but as far as the photographer's concerned, it's a sporadic motion because you don't know which way they're going. You have to kind of follow them, and you can't change. You can't move the sun.
I know, as much as I'd like to sometimes. And also in this particular location, there were 5 or 6 different jumps set up on top of that hill,
Yes.
and I was trying to catch the riders going over some of the jumps. So I would face and take this picture, and then I'd turn in 180 degrees and catch somebody else going over a jump behind me,
Hmm.
and then turn to the right and get somebody going over another jump. So it's a very physical task to be shooting horse sports of any sort, whether they're jumping or racing or barrel racing. They're moving fast, and as the
Yeah.
photographer, you really need to be agile
Yes.
uh, in those situations.
Is there just for our viewers out there who may be thinking they would like to shoot this, is there a lens focal length that you would recommend for this kind of photography?
Uh, Most horse photographers prefer a 70 to 200 millimeter, sorry,
Mm-hmm.
lens. And now I normally shoot at about an f between 5.6 and 8,
Okay.
depending on what the lighting situation is like.
Mm-hmm.
Because when they're moving like this, I mean, as you can see, the background beyond the immediate trees is somewhat blurred, and that's
Mm-hmm.
what I would like, in
Yeah.
in the picture, so that people aren't counting leaves on trees. They're going to look at the horse. But
Now,
yeah, that's my favorite lens.
so in terms of shutter speed, if someone wanted to go out in the field and practice,
Mhm.
is there a speed that you tend to like?
Fast is better. um, Seriously, the last thing you want to do is be shooting at a slow shutter speed, because you're just going to get a blur,
Right.
unless you're doing it on purpose for panning reasons. But
Right.
generally, if even a horse is standing still, because they're so big, when they breathe, you get motion blur.
Mm-hmm.
So at a horse standing still, I'll shoot at 1/500. A horse walking, I'll push it up to 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
At a trot, I'll go 1/2000, and anything higher than that, I just keep going up,
Okay.
up to probably I'll go up to 1/5000 at the most,
Okay.
if they're really, really moving fast.
Okay. So
And
there's a lot of
obviously,
variety in that, then, isn't there?
yeah, there is. There's no one. I wish I could say, if you took these 3 settings, you'd have that shot, but it really depends on so many other factors. The amount of, the day. This is a bright light day.
Yeah.
Um, and in order to not blow out the highlights, I had to go even, to a fairly high shutter speed.
Yeah.
Um, but on a cloudy day, you want to get some light so that you can actually see who's riding what horse.
Hmm.
And again, you might have to either open up your aperture, or you don't want to lower your shutter speed too much, because that is just, you really are just going to get blur. You won't
Yeah.
see the feet, you know.
Yeah.
So it's very much a question of, you know, deciding what your purpose of that particular photo will be. Now, this is one. Let me see here if I can get this one nice and large so you can see it. This is a staged photo, also in Brazil, and we just took it up on the top of a hill. And I call this one "Will You," as if he is, asking this young lady to marry him. Uh, she said yes, I think.
Oh,
But,
wow.
I mean, again, now this was shot at quite a distance, but I really wanted to have it so that the sky was actually the background.
Yes.
And so I was quite a ways down the hill that they're perched on top of. And it
That's
just
quite a
turned out
story, isn't it? I mean, there's the difference between taking photographs of the horse and the rider when they're moving, and then looking at all the technical details you need to as an equestrian shooter. And now we're looking at a storyteller, which is quite different. And to be totally honest, again, I'm totally blown away with this photograph, and I had no idea that these kind of stories could be told with horses. It's unbelievable.
you can have a lot of fun with it. And especially if you have like I didn't think to put one up for today, but I have pictures of young children, young girls. It seems to
Hmm.
be more girls than boys, although some boys are into this as well. Um, but that affection between the child and the horse,
Yeah.
and how they will snuggle up with the horse, and like the one I showed earlier on of the black stud colt and the girl. Um, there was affection there, and she was quite taken with the horse as well, and you could see that. And so there's all kinds of those types of stories that you can tell with equine photography.
Yeah. It's just even like the outfits that they have, the way that you shot it in the hill, like it really looks like not here in Canada. Like it just everything about it is if from our perspective foreign, and it's just an absolutely wonderful photograph. Um
Thank you.
okay, so we've got about 2.5 minutes left. So
Oh, okay.
time goes
Moving
by
on.
quick. I kid you not.
It
So
does.
yeah. So we'll just go back to full screen, and then I'm going to ask you about basically where people can go and get access to these kind of photographs.
There we go. Um, if people are interested in going and shooting horses, pardon the expression, I also have to specify shooting horses photographically speaking, so people don't think I'm an axe murderer. The best bet would be check in your local area for stables, and get hold of the owner and ask if they mind if you come and practice your skills while some of their students, for example, are riding, or some of the horse owners are riding. Through our photo club, we're going to be doing something like that actually tomorrow
Mhm.
at in Hampton, and then the following week we're going to go back to a different stable and practice doing portraits of
Oh,
horses and their
fantastic.
owner. So it's
Fantastic.
just ask people, and you'll find most people are more than happy to have you come and immortalize their animals.
So, do you find that the riders are what's the word, accepting to this kind of a thing? Like, is it easy to find people that really would like to have their photographs
Oh,
with your
absolutely.
animals? Yeah.
Most people are very, I mean, to hire a photographer to come and formally do a picture is going to cost them several $100s,
Hmm.
or more, depending on what they want done. But
Right.
if they're being sort of a guinea pig for you learning how to do this particular style of photography,
Hmm.
you're going to come out with some good pictures, and they're going to be very happy to have one or two given to them after the fact as a thank you for posing for them.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. So, Cece, for people to see your work, where can they find you?
I have a website. It's imagesbycc.com, and have a peek, see what you
Yeah.
like. And,
Yeah.
and of course, I can be reached by email in anytime.
Perfect. Well, Cece, look, thank you so much for sharing some of your stuff. And I know what we went through so quick because we didn't cover near what I would like to cover on this because there's so much more to talk about. So maybe sometime we'll get you to come back and talk a little bit more about actually doing the shoots when you go out, the things that you have to prepare for, and all of
Mhm.
those things. Because I just find this fascinating. And again, I can't thank you enough for that. Now, if you want to see stories like this or some other things similar to this, just a second, get my button to work and it might. There we go. Send your requests into snapshotsandstories@outlook.com and let us know if you would like to see more stories like these about different types of photography. This is not the norm. This is something that's quite different. And again, for myself, I wouldn't have even thought about it until I had gone to Cece and seen her at a seminar talking about this. And it's really fascinating. And as we've seen in Cece's photographs, the stories you can tell, the beauty you can create, it's far beyond what you can think, but you just got to get hooked into someone. So find Cece on the net and look at her products. Get inspired and get out there and go to some of your local stables and talk to some of the folks there and get some photos done. So Cece, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Really appreciate it. And thank you, folks out there in TV Land and Rogers and Facebook and YouTube for watching. We appreciate it. And that's us for now. So, from myself and from Cece, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode of Snapshots and Stories. So long for
Thank
now.
you.